Just wanted to call and catch up and kind of let you know that I quit my job and that I'm going all in on Soul Shorts and my passions right behind business. You quit your job? The first thing out of his mouth, and he just like livid, right? At the end of the day, my uncle is just a boss. He's a big guy in stature. It's like 6'4", like, big guy. Burly guy, much bigger than bigger than my dad, bigger than me, and he doesn't let me forget that. But he executes, man. He's a worker. My uncle started as a financial analyst, so he has a finance degree from my parents' alma mater, which is Colorado State University. So he kind of worked his way up through the finance game and then became kind of on the sales side for some telecommunications companies, some very big ones at that time, and signed the biggest deal in a company's history. We're talking like $2 billion. From that, kind of used that success to get in the more private world, where he was offered a lot more, equity of companies, etc., to help build. It's funny, I got to the bottom of my uncle's drive, and really what he loves to do and what he's good at is build sales teams, sales organizations. So now he's in the private sector in a telecommunications company, which they're hopefully about to sell in the next couple of years. And he's about to take a big check from based on his equity and his benefits, etc. But my uncle, and maybe I'm painting him in a little bit bad a light, but he's really my inspiration, and he's my godfather. So I think that kind of gave us this really intimate tie from day one. But it makes me emotional just because he, would take care of me when my parents, were out of town or whatever it may be. And so him and I grew, this thing. I remember this one time when we were watching, we watched the movie Scream. I don't know, there's something about the mask in that movie, and he had a house in Colorado, and I would just go over there and hang out with him, and we'd watch this movie Scream, and my aunt ended up scaring the crap out of us one night. My aunt kind of creeps down the stairs, and then the couch was kind of, right, it's like a sectional, it's like an L shape, and then the TV's here, and my aunt comes over the back of the couch where my uncle's laying, just, right, scares the crap out of us. And I just remember that's always going to be in my head, right? Just the beauty of just the relationship I've had with my uncle and then my aunt, now and their children. And, my uncle, he's one of the early investors in my company, Soul Shorts. And he doesn't, one of his texts to me is, hey, this is not an open checkbook. Those who plan to fail, or those who fail to plan to fail. So my uncle's not an entrepreneur yet, right? I think he's amassed a couple properties in real estate, which he makes a great cash flow from. So he's the entrepreneur in that right. However, my uncle didn't take the traditional, he doesn't own a company outright. He owns property and assets, but he doesn't own, a company that he built from the ground up. So I think it's important that I'm always thinking, okay, well, my uncle knows the corporate world really well and can benefit me to build into a corporate company. But he wasn't there at the start of a lot of these big companies. And so he's, I take his knowledge with a grain of salt in that I apply it to what needs to be applied to in my company, but I also take advices from other places, from founders who have started at ground zero. And the biggest thing, so like I said, my uncle's one of the biggest influences in my life, and I love him to death, and he knows that, and we just have this bond that's just so much bigger than either of us, and we know that I think that we're so similar, but yet different in our own rights, right? He's more of the corporate side. He's seen what you can make in the corporate world. So when I told him I quit my job, and I think that when I told him I quit my job, I told him over the phone. And my parents, I thought, were going to tell him, but I ended up getting on the phone with him. I'm like, hey, just wanted to call and catch up and kind of let you know that I quit my job and that I'm going all in on Soul Shorts and my passions right behind business. You quit your job? The first thing out of his mouth, and he just livid, right? He's like, how are you going to pay your house? How are you going to pay, right? So insane logic kicks in. You're like, how are you going to pay your house? How are you going to pay your car? How are you going to pay this, that, and the other, student loans? I'm like, I don't know yet. And I'm going to be honest in telling you that I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out quick. So once he came around to the idea, and I think that we both kind of knew I was going to ask him for a lump sum investment in my company and me at the end of the day, because we've always wanted to start something really big together. But I think that my role is starting it and his role is growing it. And so we have this weird pro, con, strength, weakness type of relationship where I'm getting to that age where I want to just build our legacy. Him and I have the same last name because he's my dad's brother, and we just want to build something spectacular. And he's about to, be on hopefully sell the company that he's currently at, and so he's about to be open to now full-time investing in real estate or full-time, growing the company's Soul Shorts from a sales, wholesale, corporate account type of standpoint, which I think is really where he's going to find he can work maybe half-time on that and just crush it for us, right? And just build this into a multi-million-dollar company, and then build outside of apparel for us, or, maybe set up the team to work on those sales relationships and that representation to the market. But yeah, I mean, to say that he's been one of the biggest influences in my life is an understatement. And every decision I make, I run by him. Once again, because I genuinely value his opinion, and also I think that he gives me a level of kind of frugality that really is important and necessary. And he reminds me, he's like, you're going to live like a slave, right? You're going to live like a king, right? You got to work and live like a slave for an extended amount of time. And that could be 1 year, that could be a month, that could be 3 years, that could be 10 years. Who knows, right? Soul Shorts, we've built now a small salary into the kind of investment structure. But I mean, like, I'm not going to make anywhere near, not even 50% of what I was making. I mean, to start, we'll see. But right now, at its current scale, he reminds me all the time, I got to live like I'm poor. Because right now I am. So I think it's so funny. But yeah, him and I mean, he's gonna really help me continue to create something really big. And so I love the guy to death.